You've seen her in hundreds of stories, playing such varied roles as herself with different hair, and even a detective coincidentally named Amelia. But now she has a new role. Please make her feel welcome, the new host of BTN, Amelia Mosley.
Hi, Amelia here. Thank you for joining me for our first BTN of the year and officially my first as host. I can't wait to bring you all the news you need to know in 2018. We've got heaps of great stuff coming up, but first, let's kick off the show with a quick recap of the biggest stories from the year so far. First to monkey news. In China, scientists have managed to clone two of them for the first time ever. Their names are Zhongzhong and Wawa, and researchers say they're looking healthy. In the US, Donald Trump celebrated his first anniversary as president. Oh, and the government shut down for a few days when the Republicans and Democrats couldn't come to an agreement on immigration laws. Back home, Australian students shot up the international rankings in reading to 21st, our best result in a decade. The first same-sex weddings took place after it was made legal last year. And the National Zoo welcomed some pretty adorable new arrivals. And finally, just last week, secret documents were found in two filing cabinets once used in Parliament House. Someone bought the cabinets from a second-hand shop and found thousands of classified pages that had accidentally been left inside. They were given to the ABC, and last week it began publishing some of the details. But the ABC's now agreed to return the files to the government to make sure some of the most important secrets stay secret. There will also be an investigation into how the papers got lost. Okay, our first feature today takes us to colder climates for the Winter Olympics, which will kick off later this week. But while athletes around the world put the final touches on their prep, a lot of focus has been on the host country, South Korea, and its relationship with its neighbour, North Korea. Here's why.
Australia. It's kind of a hot place most of the time, especially now, because it's summer. Yet somehow we've got a bunch of incredible athletes who excel in sports like this, and this, and this, which are generally snow, ice, and or coldness based. Fancy that. And soon, millions of us will be tuning in to see them represent Australia at the Winter Olympics. Full disclosure, I'm not actually watching the Olympics. They haven't started yet. This is more to give you an idea of the kind of thing you might soon be doing. Go team! Yeah! This time around, the 23rd Olympic Winter Games is taking place in Pyeongchang, here in South Korea. But just to the north is a country South Korea isn't all that close to, called North Korea. For a long time, this whole area was just called Korea. But after the end of the Second World War, there was a split. Each side had a very different idea about how Korea should be run. In 1950, those political differences led to war, which lasted 3 years. And even after, North Korea and South Korea have remained uncomfortably close enemies. A demilitarized zone was set up to separate the two countries and stop fighting along the border. It's 4 kilometers wide and fenced, mined, and constantly patrolled by soldiers from both sides. In the years since then, the tension has remained, but both countries have changed a lot. Today, South Korea, officially the Republic of Korea, is one of the world's wealthiest and most educated countries. It's a democracy, and among other things, is known for being technologically advanced. North Korea, officially the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, is run by this guy, Kim Jong-un. His government controls everything, and ordinary citizens don't get a say. In fact, most North Koreans aren't even allowed to leave the country. It's a secretive place. The media is strongly controlled by the government, and most people don't have access to things like the internet. North Korea has also regularly threatened other countries with war, including South Korea, the United States, and Australia. But both countries' governments now say they're open to change, starting with the Winter Olympics. The two announced they would share a flag in the opening ceremony. They're also fielding a joint ice hockey team. Many are hopeful it could lead to better relations between North and South Korea. But for now, athletes' eyes will be on winning gold.
Here we go.
And that's what people everywhere will be tuning in for. Have you got a question about the Winter Olympics? Ask me live on Friday during Ask a Reporter. Head to our website for all the details.
And still on the subject, how much is this Winter Olympics expected to cost? 1 billion, 10 billion, or 100 billion US dollars? The answer is 10 billion, which is actually 5 times cheaper than the last one. Next up, have you ever wondered why many internet sites and services are banned for kids under 13? Well, to mark Safer Internet Day on the 6th of February, we're going to find out about that and some of the other rules designed to keep you safe online.
So it's a supermoon, but it's also red, but it's also a blue moon.
So does that mean it's purple?
Not exactly.
No, you hang up first. No. Oh, they hung up on me. Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?
I'm just collecting data on you.
Why?
To make a profile about you, obviously.
This would be a pretty confronting situation to find yourself in. But did you know, it's something that can easily happen every time you use the internet. And you might have actually said it was okay, without even realising it.
You can't just go around spying on me, taking note of my every move.
Actually, I can. So right here in these terms and conditions that you agreed to.
Stop that.
If you've ever agreed to terms and conditions without actually reading them, you're definitely not alone. But what's in the T&Cs is actually pretty important. For some sites, like Facebook for example, clicking this button means agreeing to a whole bunch of things. And one of them is giving permission for Facebook to collect and use your personal information. You see, everything you post or click on through the internet can potentially be stored and analysed, and used to sell you things, or sold on to others. This practice is actually one of the big reasons why kids under 13 are banned from most social media sites. It's all contained in a set of American laws called the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act of 1998, or COPPA. It was created to prevent websites from turning you into a product by collecting and storing all of your personal information. And it was introduced after research showed that kids under 13 couldn't make an informed decision about what personal information they should keep private online. So while it might be frustrating, that age restriction is actually there to protect you. But not everyone these days agrees with it. Some people say that many kids still use social media sites by giving a false age. So they say the best way to protect kids is to teach them from an early age how to stay safe and private online, with lessons like asking before tagging someone in a picture or video, not revealing personal information, recognise that others' opinions will be different to yours, only say online what you'd say to someone's face. And above all, remember that someone might be watching and recording everything you do.
And our first poll this year asks how you feel about that age restriction. To have your say, just head to our website. Now, most of us have heard about the problems global warming is expected to cause in the future, but its effects can already be seen in the cold Northern Hemisphere island of Greenland, where more and more ice is melting each year. There are some people happy about the change though. Take a look.
For most of us, 10 degrees Celsius is stay at home under the blankets weather. But for kids in this town, it means summer's arrived.
My name is Athena and I'm 13 years old. And I like it very much here.
Athena and her friends live in Gunga Glusuaq. It's a tiny town right here on one of the world's biggest islands, a country called Greenland.
There's a lot of nature and stuff. In the summer I go rowing and kayaking or whatever. And me and my friends, we go out camping and stuff.
Greenland has a pretty misleading name because most of it is actually white, thanks to an enormous ice cap that covers 80%. The ice cap's been around since the last ice age, more than 11,500 years ago. But for the past decade, it's been fighting a losing battle against global warming. Global warming is what we call the gradual rise in the Earth's temperature. It's caused by higher levels of carbon dioxide and other gases in Earth's atmosphere. Since the 1950s, Greenland's average temperature has risen by 1.5 degrees. Now that might not sound like much, but think about it this way. As you probably know, ice will stay frozen as long as it's kept at a temperature of 0 degrees Celsius or colder. An increase of just 1 degree will start turning it into water. Well, that's what's happening in Greenland. In fact, scientists say every year more than 300 billion tonnes of its ice is melting into the ocean. This is Adam. He's a tour guide who visits Greenland's ice cap more than 300 times every year. He's managed to catch some pretty amazing things on camera, like this, and this, and this. It looks pretty cool, but it's actually a really bad sign.
It's a fact that the ice sheet is melting and the landscape is changing. Look around, it's happening very fast.
Adam says Greenland's even had some bushfires, which is pretty weird for a place covered in ice. But there's another side to this warming story in Greenland. Some people are actually happy about it. The warmer weather means warmer water, and that's meant the arrival of fish like mackerel that usually hang out further south. It's made fishermen here very happy.
We see some higher stocks due to the climate change, or at least due to warmer sea temperatures.
And then there are some just enjoying a reprieve from the cold.
It would be nicer to be warmer. Yeah, I could use some of that.
But while global warming might mean more fish in Greenland for a while, and fewer jackets, pretty much everyone does agree its long-term impacts will be really damaging, not just here but around the world. And that's why experts say we should keep up the fight against climate change and keep countries like Greenland looking white and frosty into the future.
Last week, kids and adults all over Australia stayed up late to check out a very special moon. It was called a super blue blood moon and it looked pretty spectacular. But how did it happen? Here's the answer.
Guess what tonight is?
I don't know, your birthday?
No, it's... You really don't know when my birthday is?
What is tonight?
Tonight is a full moon.
Not this again.
And you know what that means?
Yeah, it means you're going to try to become a werewolf again.
Exactly! I'll finally be able to howl at the moon and unleash the beast within. Oh!
No, you won't.
Excuse me?
You try this literally every month, and literally every month, nothing happens. What makes you think this time is going to be any different?
Because, Matthew, tonight is no ordinary full moon. Tonight is a super blue blood moon.
What?
There's gonna be a super moon, a blue moon, and a blood moon all in the same night.
I don't know what any of those things are.
Well, lucky you've got me.
Okay, first the supermoon part. That happens when the moon and the Earth get closer together than usual. You see, the moon revolves around the Earth in an egg-shaped orbit like this. And when it gets about 25,000 kilometres closer than normal, it looks much bigger and brighter, especially as it emerges over the horizon, which makes for some pretty amazing pics.
Okay, but what's with the blood moon? Sounds kind of gross.
Oh, speaking of gross. No, a blood moon doesn't actually have anything to do with blood.
A blood moon is a total lunar eclipse. That means the sun, the Earth and the moon all line up, and the moon goes dark as it passes through the Earth's shadow. It means not all the light from the sun can get through the Earth to the moon. And the result? The moon starts glowing red. Again, lots of awesome pics.
Hold on, so if a blood moon is red, I assume a blue moon is blue. But how can the moon be both red and blue at the same time? Is it purple?
Good guess, but not quite.
You know the phrase, once in a blue moon? It means not all that often. And that's because we don't get blue moons all that often. Generally, there's one full moon every month. But occasionally, two manage to squeeze in. The second one is called a blue moon. It's not actually blue, just the usual white-yellow colour.
So you see, Matt, this is a really big deal. There hasn't been a super blue blood moon since before you and I were born, and there isn't going to be another one until 2037.
I still think it's ridiculous that you think you can transform yourself into a werewolf. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to call my psychic and get my super blue blood moon horoscope. This is a serious cosmic trifecta and I need to make sure my karmic energies are aligned.
Seriously?
True or false? Ocean tides are caused by the gravitational pull of the moon. That is true. The Adelaide Strikers defeated the Hobart Hurricanes to win their first Big Bash title thanks to an incredible century from Jake Weatherald. He hit 8 sixes and 9 fours to rack up 115 runs from just 70 balls, helping the Sixers to an impressive total of 2 for 202. The Hurricanes struggled to reach the total, giving the Strikers a 25-run win. In the Women's Big Bash League, the Sydney Sixers defended their title with an easy win over the Perth Scorchers. The Sixers chased down the target of 100 runs with 9 wickets and 5 overs to spare. The AFLW season has kicked off again. Around 20,000 people attended the first game, a Friday night clash between Carlton and Collingwood. It was low scoring, but Carlton came out on top 22-14.
And Carlton has done it again.
I think last night proved that AFLW is not going anywhere and the excitement is just going to continue to build.
And over in the US, the Philadelphia Eagles have won this year's Super Bowl, defeating the New England Patriots 41-33. They came in as underdogs to win their first NFL title since 1960. The Super Bowl is one of the world's biggest sporting events, famous for its ads and big halftime show. Now, finally today, opening a business sounds like a pretty adult thing to do. But two 12-year-old kids are proving that not only can you do it before hitting your teens, you can also be really successful. Here's their story.
Hi BTN, my name is Deegan.
And my name is Sam.
And we are the co-founders of Pretty Rooster. Well, we met in year 2.
We met in year 2 and then really became friends in year 4 when we had a project together. And we've been best friends ever since.
My school nickname is Pretty Boy.
And my nickname's Rooster.
So we mushed them together and got Pretty Rooster.
Well, Pretty Rooster is a t-shirt company started by Deegan and I.
Well, I've always loved drawing, and Sam said one day, why don't you put your drawings on t-shirts and like get some printed and stuff. So then we joined together and made t-shirts.
We launched Pretty Rooster in November 2017. It took several months to work it out.
Yeah.
And get all the things ready and get the website and advertisement ready in the printer. The designs represent mining. In one is a hard hat and one's the boot, steel cap boot. And we wanted to help kids connect with their parents if they're doing fly in, fly out, so they could both be wearing the same t-shirt and take photos of one in the mine and one at home.
So my mum works at Heathgate and she's a HR manager, so she has to fly out every like 2 weeks and stays there for a few days.
And my dad is a mining engineer, and when I was very young he always did fly in, fly out, so I barely ever got to see him. So he doesn't do that now, but we wanted to support kids who that is happening in their life.
Well, we've had lots of people asking for t-shirts that they want us to make, and we've had lots of orders.
It's been amazing, the support we've got. Lots of businesses have looked into it and asked for us to design and produce a t-shirt for them.
We've had about 60 orders since November. Sam, when's the last time you checked the orders?
I checked last night. We've got 3 new ones.
Great. What designs are they?
Well, there's a hard hat. Well, we're funding the business all with our own pocket money. And our main goal is to get our pocket money back afterwards. And we've also had to sell several things.
That I've sold my drum kit to pay off.
Yes, and I've done lots of jobs, mowing the lawn, going over and helping my grandma, doing lots of things to earn money.
We do want to print on some other clothing items, not just t-shirts.
Like hats and maybe ties and shirts. And hopefully, once we get really successful, we'll be able to get our own printers. Some advice for younger kids and other kids who would like to start their business is don't just think about it, you have to actually do it, because if you just say, oh, I should do that, it never gets done. That happened with us a bit, so you have to actually build up the momentum and get it going.
And that's it for today, but you can always head to our website for all of your poll voting, commenting and teaching resource needs. Plus, if you go there right now, you'll also see a short video about me that Matt made. It's not particularly serious. Enjoy that, and I'll see you next week for more BTN.